that is BJP. It's really a great party, and they are revolutionizing India in a way that it is becoming a developed country in many aspects. India is still a developing country, but it is trying to go upstairs using technology and financial infrastructures. And all the technology that they are using is just influenced by the American businesses. Every big American tech company is in India right now just because they find good employment and everything over there. But the states, okay, like California is a state and it is a donor one, but we are in Punjab. It is not a very productive state. There is no IT industry. The state is poor, but it is only based on people who have gone abroad. Most of the NRIs are from Punjab only. You won't believe me, the people in Canada are going from Punjab. Near about one tenth of Punjab population have moved to Canada just in search of good economy and lifestyle. And you know, the people of Punjab have developed their economy like that. They have become ministers in the government of Canada right now. There are many people who moved from Punjab in these last 30 to 40 years, and they maintained Canada in aspects that their lifestyle and the lifestyle of their people is becoming good. They are making Canada a diverse country. So all these things are following up in India. The states are, trying to dominate the central government, that you won't rule us. We want to do our own things. And you can check on YouTube that the people have protested in a way that they tried to go to the Red Fort, the like just the Capitol attack in Washington. The people in India tried to go to the Red Fort, and they had a combat with the police there. Those things are so bad, so the government tried to shut down internet so that the things are not rumored around. People are not social being and trying to compress the movement so that every coin has the two sides. The protest was for the good of farmers, but there were some negative elements in the protest who tried to, make police come back with the people. So this was the whole game why the internet was shut down and why the things are very messed around in India. And
Okay, I'm gonna stop it there. We'll get back to Dewonk in a second. I'm gonna start the meeting. We
thanks.
started at 11. We did. I'll get back to you, Dewonk, but
No worries, sir.
we're
Everything's great.
we're starting at 11. We're starting our meetings on time. Meetings will now be no more than 1 hour and a half. Period. Board members are asked to, if you stay for that duration, that's great. If you have to go at any time, life comes first, or there is no activism, like I tell many of you. Additionally, we will be stopping at 12:30 hard stop. So the new plan that I worked out with the Rules Committee was we're going to go through these issues. People can comment, but when we hit that timeline, I'm going to stop comments and we're going to go to the next section. The reason for that was that the Rules Committee felt people can still contact people who are presenting. And so even if they weren't able to make a comment in the conference, we still have each other's contact information. And so you're not prevented from contacting that person or going on WhatsApp or going on the forum, which we're going to be showcasing today, and continuing the conversation. So we had to draw a line between democracy and board members have powers and making sure that board members are not suffering through my horrible 3 hour long meetings. I apologize to everybody. I know it was bad and I'm sorry. I really put a lot on all of you and I listened, and we're not doing that again. So this is me going, lesson learned, made a mistake, not going to happen. Everybody said an hour and a half. It's going to be an hour and a half. So we're going to do housekeeping for 10 minutes. We're about 4 minutes behind. This is the first time we're doing it, so work with me. But 11 to 11:10 is housekeeping. Where are we going? What are we doing? Why are we doing it? So everybody follows along. Then at 11:10 to 12, we do presentations on publicity projects. And then at 12 to 12:30, we do Congress business, voting on issues, dialogue. So there's a kind of hard locked in times. Please comment. You are a board member. You have the right to comment. Please keep your comments to about 1 to 2 minutes total. If we run out of time, we have the public comment section at 12:30, and you have the ability to go on the forum that will be unveiled today, and you have the WhatsApp, and you can email each other. Additionally, we have supposedly the South African Cape Party, a multi-ethnic, diverse region of South Africa that has a little bit better of a functioning government and makes more money and is a donor state to the rest of the area that views them as culturally different from the rest of the country, should be here today, and we're hoping to work with them. DeWonk is from India, and he just gave us an insight into secession movement there. And we have other visitors from around the world. And last week we had the ambassador from the Texas Nationalist Movement, which is the largest other independence group in America, officially accept to have an advisor on the Yes California board. So we are the only CalExit group to do that, and we are now the only group, I believe, in America to have the TNM recognized as the other independence movement. So huge success. And I just want to point that out because we made that working out with conservatives while not being a conservative organization ourselves. Additionally, we have people from around the world while we are mostly Californians. And the reason that we do that is because, as our governor said, Americans build walls, Californians build bridges. End of story. So I hope you saw that. We have people from around the world, literally, trying to reach out and connect. And we have people from other states trying to reach out to connect. And I hope you look at the panel here today. Look at how diverse this is. I know there's a few people here, but the full list is even super diverse. I've gotten many compliments on the diversity of this group. And I got to say, as a mixed race person who grew up in multi-ethnic California, I am more proud of that than anything else I've done in the last 2 months. The ability to bring people together from many different backgrounds and many different perspectives is a life achievement for me. So without further ado, and with some flexibility in the timeline, because we're trying this first one, I'm going to jump into the process. Please forgive me, okay? So let me do something real quick just to show off. Okay. I bet that didn't go anywhere because I didn't share screen. So let me try that one more time. We're learning. Okay. So let me do this now. This is what I wanted to do. We're getting there. Okay. We're going to get super professional. Okay, I want to thank Nicholas Wildstar for helping set that up for Yes California. Let's go right to the agenda. So you should be able to see the agenda. The outline is 11 to 11:10. I understand we're about 8 minutes behind, but this is the format for all future meetings, and I'm just asking for a little bit of flexibility. This first one, 11 to 11:10, the president conducts housekeeping, mission statement, benchmarks. Why are we here? What have we done so far? Our current agenda for today and the next future agenda. So everybody can see what are we doing, how we're achieving it, where we're going, and what we're doing today. Today's presentation from 11:10 to 12, or the whole point of why we have these CalExit Congresses, presentation by Jason Wright on Yes California Invited to an International Event. This is to help achieve the mission goal of gaining international media. There's a presentation by Robert Stark on Universal Basic Income. This is to help Yes California appear to solve domestic issues and raise our profile domestically. There'll be a presentation by Matt Owens on the homeless problem in California and how well it's going. And this is also to gain domestic attention by appearing to solve an issue here in California. Then there's a presentation on how we should improve the media narrative. Should we remove all partisan, political, and mainstream media narratives? Not sure. This was talked about last week. We weren't sure, or it wasn't clear on how we're going to replace it, but we'll have that conversation. So how do we get international media attention? How do we show off to the rest of California we're about fixing California? How do we do that again? And how do we continue to improve our narratives here? The entire point of what we're doing. These are just four presentations, but this is the essence of why we're here. Um, if there's time over, we'll have additional comments, but we're going to, around 12, we will go to the CalExit Congress and review the title. I will show the new CalExit Congress website and forum as requested by Congress. We will ask if anybody has opposition to the title and hopefully vote that in or vote for it to change. Then we're going to move to committees. We have a Judiciary Committee notes, Rules Committee notes. Then we have the creation of new committees, Talk with Texas, where I nominated Rabbi Stephen Axelman as the head, Professional Culture Creation, where I nominated Christine Howard Ishmaeli as the head, Alternative Energy, where I nominated TJ Shelton, bringing Californians together, no nominated head, Foreign Outreach and Establishing Embassies to a Future Independent Republic of California in Sovereign Areas, Indigenous and Foreign Nations. President nominates for head as Jason Wright. Domestic issues to issue a resolution on, that's where you would go to get resolutions. We need a head for that. International issues to issue a resolution on, that's where we need a head for that. The Rules Committee, President nominates Christine Howard Ishmaeli. That's up to her. I nominated her for two things. Fundraising Committee is existing. I nominate Don Sutton, and Judiciary Committee is existing. I nominate TJ Shelton. The mission statement of our group is this, and this was approved by Congress: to raise awareness among all Californians, or at least the 1/3 who are aware of CalExit, that it is unreasonable to not have this discussion about what if California has to go it alone by itself if the U.S. begins to devolve. To raise the profile of California as a nation to Californians, Americans, and people around the world. And finally, to be the best recognized, most honest, and trustworthy CalExit organization to Californians who feel California is ready to secede and Americans who are willing to kick us out. Some of the benchmarks: become as professional and corporate operating, displaying incredible organization. We have an exhaustive set of rules that Congress proposed and was recently accepted. We have a committee created for every single issue, and we are voting on the heads today. We have our 501c4 incorporation done. We have a website for Congress that will be unveiled and created today. We have a forum for advanced discussion by Congress that's created and unveiled today. We will also be looking to implement Robert's Rules of Order. We need to get on that a little bit better, falling behind a little bit, I'll say it. Have famous people who have some sort of public reputation attend a Yes California Congress, or at least talk with us publicly. We still need to work on that. That'll be coming. Form a fundraising vehicle fully recognized by law. We have incorporated Yes California as a nonprofit mutual benefit corporation with the California Government Secretary of State office last week with the help of Don Sutton. Additionally, we filed an employment identification number with the Internal Revenue Service of the United States government. Prove at least 90% of all decisions were made by consensus. Here's some of the benchmarks for that. Congress has voted on an entire set of rules, super detailed. So that was them. Additionally, Congress has created rules in 9 separate areas. They've also created 8 committees. The president myself has only created 2. And the Judiciary Committee recently met, and I suggested something and I was overruled. And I went with it because the system's working and the committees have the ability to do that, and I respect that. 4 publicity projects that we're trying to achieve to show we're getting things done. Well, number 1 is Congress has created the recall debate when nobody else thought that was a good idea, and we staffed it with candidates, and that's going to happen very soon. Also, the California Dreaming podcast, mentioned here first, was created here in this group by a board member and did its first interview recently. Additionally, Congress has reached out to other independents, such as the Cape Party of South Africa and the Texas Nationalist Movement, and they have agreed to dialogue with us. Finally, Congress has reached out to Trump voters in other states, although we ourselves don't like Trump generally as a group, and is pleased to have the ambassador of the Texas Nationalist Movement agree to be an advisor with us, and to have Mr. Kokesh, who's very famous with conservatives around America, also join as a full member. Some of the past decisions Congress has made recently were voting on the process of Congress, the voting process of Congress, powers of Congress, operations of Congress, how do we deal with transparency, outlines for the agenda, benchmarks for success, you just saw, strategy to grow the size of the Congress, mission statement, you just saw, and new committees, you just saw. For next week, we will be showing a movie about how America was California was conquered by America under opposition to international law. We will also be reviewing the decisions from the February 14th Congress about the organization of Congress if people have issues. We will also be doing a culture committee report on the mission statement if it needs to be retrofitted. And finally, we may be continuing to vote and discuss on the roles and officers of Congress and on the committees. So let's get right into it. We're going to go to a presentation by Jason, right? Give me 1 second, still learning. So Jason, I ate up a little bit of time. We're about 5 minutes behind, not a big deal. Julina Acosta has chosen to not present today, although she has a standing invite to talk about the return of land and cultural heritage sites and anything that it would take in order to heal her nation, which suffered a genocide by the official California government. While we love California, genocide happened. It's officially this government that did it. It benefited from it, and that's not okay, and reparations of some kind will have to be paid. We're working with members of the Pomo Nation to come here and have them say it in their own words. So Jason, in about 5 minutes, could you tell us your publicity project that you would like to suggest for the Congress? Please, sir.
Yeah, so in 2016 and again last year in 2020, Yes California organization had representatives. We had an invite to attend an international conference, and each time we sent at least 2 representatives. The first time was then President and Vice President of Yes, Marcus and Lewis. Last year was Marcus and myself. This Dialogue of Nations conference. I always want to call it the League of Nations, and that's not what it is. This Dialogue of Nations conference is hosted by our good friend Alexander. It is an internationally known conference. There have been people from movements all over the world when we've attended, and it has given us a great opportunity, a great platform to put out our message and get it out there to the world. But also, 2, it provides us a great opportunity to make new friends, build new relationships, learn more about other movements. One great example was the Uhuru movement, which we have great respect for. Even though things got a little heated, we still support them, right? It's about the connections. It's about learning more about each other and learning how to work better with each other and how to be, properly supportive. At least that's kind of our goal here. As a little reference, there is the political charge behind it of anti-globalism. So anti-globalization, right, is now this really fits with California values here. I'm going to read the wiki definition. A philosophy which rejects the current global economic trade system because of the belief that it undermines the environment, labor rights, national sovereignty, and the interests of third world states. Sounds like someone's basically saying the corporate autocrats are kind of screwing up most of the world and dipping their hands into everyone's everything. And it needs to stop because it's messing up everything for all of us. So that's the, feel behind it. That's kind of the direction that I at least would like to see it head. Not sure exactly when the next conference will be, but I have already been told that we will have an invite. So I'd like to just put it out there to everyone in the group that if you are interested in such a thing, then please let Marcus or myself know, and we will do our best to make sure that you can attend that conference when it comes up.
Okay, thank you. Just because I want to get through the presentations, I'm just going to say, yes, California's gone to the International Dialogue of Nations 3 times. We went in 2016. We got coverage in the New York Times, ABC Television, I think Washington Post, and the LA Times. And if I could ask you to mute yourself, if you would. 1 second. Let me handle that. Okay. We were proud to go. We also went in 2020. I was able to go myself. Little bit of a tough crowd, but good reception, always welcome, and it raises our profile. It shows, yes, California is able to talk to international movements, reach out, and is at that level where we can get international and American media attention. We never got covered by any media source outside of California until we went to this conference. Straight up, say what you will. But we were able to get in the LA Times, San Francisco Chronicle, San Jose Mercury, Sacramento Bee, Sacramento TV, and San Diego TV, but no one outside of California would even touch us at all with a 50-foot pole. We went to this conference once. We got in German, Japanese, French, English, Scottish, Welsh, Chinese, Russian, Filipino, and I think Zimbabwe news. And then we were covered by the New York Times twice and ABC television within 24 hours. Additionally, we went again
and CCTV.
And CCTV. So we were proud to go. We will want to go in the future. The mission statement of Yes California is to also approve by the Congress, raise the profile of California as a nation to the entire world. So I'm going to leave it there. I want to move on because there's a lot of people who need to present and they've been very patient. I'm going to go to Robert Stark. Robert Stark was going to talk about universal basic income. Robert, would you like?
Yeah, I can get started. So
please, Robert Stark, tell us about UBI in 5 minutes and what can we as California do better to provide a better future and suggest how life could be improved for everyone in California if we were independent, or what should we be doing anyways?
So yeah, it could be part of California independence, or it could be a sort of issue attached. So first of all, it could be publicity for Yes California, but right now it's more relevant now than ever with the pandemic, vindicating UBI and just the overall handling of the economic aftermath. Biden and the Senate shortcoming in delivering cash payouts, mostly pork spending and bailouts for institutions, corporations or governments, rather than adequate direct cash payouts.
Hey,
And
Robert,
yeah?
There's some sort of clicking or something going on in the background. Okay, it's gone. Please continue. Please continue, sir. Sorry, I just want your audio clean so everybody can really zoom in on what you're saying.
And different models proposed. There was MLK, Martin Luther King's, advocated something called a negative income tax, which would be income, but that just for people who make under a certain amount. And then there's also a concept of citizens dividend, also called social credit theory, where income is created by the Treasury, but instead it's introduced directly to the citizens. And unlike with the proposal put forth by Andrew Yang, it would not need or require any raise on taxes. And Yang's version, when he was running for president, would be primarily funded using a VAT tax. But I'm looking over, like, studying different revenue sources, and I think it's more important to diversify rather than one. There are a lot of like critiques of implementing a VAT tax. So one example is Alaska and yeah, like there's the Alaska independence movement, but currently their state government, they have an oil dividend, a basic income based on their oil revenue, their oil dividend. And yeah, I like to do like a study on just comparing, like seeing if that's feasible as a source, and then also tech dividend, the idea that like there has been like record profits for all these companies such as Uber and Google and Amazon during the pandemic. At the maybe you can make the case, yeah, you can make the case at the expense of small businesses and make that like partial payment, and then there's the pros and cons of the kind of libertarian UBI model of consolidating non-healthcare state benefits, and there might be issues to this. So this is not like concrete, but just things to look into. And then automating bureaucracy, using technology to downsize government to fund a UBI. That's worth looking into, but there's political barriers to that as too. So I would just stress diversifying the revenue sources, and then I'm not great at math, but someone who is should ideally do like a study analyzing these different revenue sources, and also it kind of shows like the wealth of California, and also stresses like the economic output and what we're losing to the federal government. And then like the proposal, I can't really explain about this in detail, but Ellen Brown, I remember, had an article using like a public bank to introduce some kind of basic income. And then I'm also interested in possibly like a cryptocurrency, but unique to California. So there could be some kind of agreements with California businesses, especially like smaller businesses that are established in California, and cryptocurrency would have a less inflationary impact than printing U.S. dollars. And then pros and cons of crypto, like concerns of something that's been brought up is like with cancel culture, and if it's like if it's through an app, then the government could just cancel the app, like. So there would need to be some kind of protections in the state constitution that it's a fundamental right, and then possibly a hybrid of crypto and cash. And then for eligibility, because currently like citizenship is defined by the U.S. government defining the citizenship of California, and I'm not sure. I think Alaska might have residency restrictions. So asking, should there be residency restrictions, and who qualifies, and then should there be a bonus for, say, artists, bloggers, activists on the grounds that they're providing a public service. And then the importance of California acting independently, and inflation of the US dollar will only get worse in years to come. So it's a chance for California to act and to take on a leadership role and do something that does stands out. California needs to offer alternative solutions and a chance for leadership. And then just to kind of to summarize this is how to promote it, whether it's part of any campaign, and then reaching out to the Yang Gang, the UBI movement, possibly Ellen Brown too, and then whether there would be a candidate taking up a pro-UBI, pro-Calexit stance. So that's all I have for this outline, but if anyone wants to ask a question.
Yeah, so I'm going to turn it over to everybody for a few minutes. We'll discuss comments on UBI and packaging or researching a UBI thing that the CALEXIT Congress could propose. I will remind everybody that the Congress approved us to give resolutions. So we have approved a system where we can discuss things, come up, one second, Jason. We can come up with a resolution, we can issue it and say this is a statement and propose ideas. And this is perfect. It's a marketing idea to show how, yes, California is serious. We're not just pie in the sky. We're looking at how to make life better here in California. And we're also capable of having those intellectual conversations at that level that raises the profile and respect of this organization, which is a mission statement. I will just add that Caithness, Mr. Caithness, who's also part of the Congress, is proposed tokenization of the land in California to create a blockchain cryptocurrency. So you would take the assets of California and you would tokenize them and then somehow make profits off that, and that would feed into the UBI. So he had this idea of creating a UBI off tokenization of assets for cryptocurrency. He can explain it way better than me, but that was at least one idea. So In about a minute to 2 minutes, and we're going to get as many as we can. We'll have a dialogue for a few minutes. Jason Wright first. What do you think? Thoughts, feelings?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I am all for this, and not just because of my personal socioeconomic status, but I really do agree that this is a huge, huge media opportunity. It can prove to people that we really do mean what we say. We really are like trying to help better all of California, not just one specific demographic, no matter how big or small. This is all California. And so I am totally on board with this.
Okay, other comments from anybody about a possible UBI research project? If you're a CalExit Congress board member, you're looking for you to speak. If you want to say anything, don't have to. Okay, so Robert, I know Alistair would be interested in this, and Jason is too, so I'll add that in the notes. Uh, any last minute comments on UBI, Robert? And we're going to go to our next presenter, unless
Yeah,
anybody wants to say something.
yeah. I think I don't really have anything else to add about what I was putting forth, but I agree with what you said about the person you mentioned about the idea about crypto. Sounds interesting. I'd like to look more into that.
Yeah, I'll hook you up with Alistair Caithness. He
Oh,
came up with
great.
that idea, and Jason Wright. DeWonk, comments, sir?
I was just unmuting and I was trying to speak. So sorry from my side. Yeah. So I
Oh,
was saying
good.
this idea of using blockchain upon cryptocurrency. Okay, this thing is very exciting. If we try to implement a blockchain with the app, we are trying to enhance the interaction of consumers, which are the people of California. What I am trying to say is a app, if we make a app that is working and that is a cryptocurrency based, that is producing some investment for the people of California, and it is used by us, we can create this project into a very big thing. We can create this blockchain. Yeah.
So it sounds like we got a committee. An idea was proposed by a board member. Um, the president reminded that board member there was another board member on that, and then two more board members signed on. So I'm going to point out what we're doing as we're doing it because we build the culture. So someone says, I have an idea, they come out, they present it. If you don't like their idea, you don't have to support it, but basically just kind of keep it quiet. If you do have constructive criticism of their idea, hey, that's not going to work, but you should do it this, then please bring that up. And then we will connect that person with other board members who want to support that idea so that board members who like that idea go off and work on that idea and can come back to Congress. So I know it seems mundane, but you literally saw that working. So we're going to get really big. This is the process working. I have an idea. I present in a few minutes. I made a presentation. Board members can say, they can't say I don't like it, but they can say, did you think of this? Did you think of that? They also don't have to support it. But then other board members can go, well, I like that. I'll work with you, me, and no one can stop them. So two people decided to do that. Now I'm going to put them in contact with another board member. This is success. Okay, I'm going to end that discussion. I'm going to go to DeWonk. DeWonk, I'm putting you on the spot. You don't have to do it at all. You don't have to. I know I'm putting you on the spot. Would you be willing to talk about the idea of uh, sentimental analysis, the data project where, um,
Yeah. I have prepared a brief discussion on it. I would like to present the facts and everything on another day, because
done.
the reports, when you will see the statistics along with the facts, that data and the sentimental analysis, the engine we are going to make, that will make a lot of sense. Okay, we will try to understand what we are going to do. So I have prepared a file, but it's very late around here in India, and my
Okay,
parents will wake up
okay.
when I will be totally blasting it out.
Hey, I get it. So this was me being responsive. So I'm president, but my job is largely to serve you guys. So you came to me and said, I want to present. I have to put you on the agenda because you requested. You're here. I have to
Sure.
point out that you didn't get a chance. So whenever you're ready, I just want people to know this isn't me putting pressure on you. This is me
No worries,
going,
sir. I will
I'm
let you
responsive
know.
to you. Okay.
No, sir. I am more happy to do the stuff.
Real quickly though, DeWonk is a data scientist, hardcore data scientist, knows programming, data stuff, all the super fancy stuff out of India. You don't have to agree. I'm just going to go ahead and list you off so people know what's up. Because please don't be modest. You guys are always like, I'm not that good at data science. Well, compared to everyone out here, you are. So he's the real deal. Full time, rip open that Python script and write the whole thing. And what he's saying is we could develop a search engine, or he could, that would find the best words to talk about California independence. Is it secession, sovereignty, independence, whatever? You'll build the engine, it will find those terms. Once we have those terms, we can then use the data for ourselves for our marketing purposes, knowing the right word is unicorn tongue to say CalExit, and people automatically go, oh, I know exactly what you mean, and I say yes. Frank Lutz, basically both political parties do this. They don't figure out the best political angle to get you. They figure out words that trigger you emotionally, and then they just use those. And both of them do it, and they spend millions of dollars. Well, DeWonk can do the same thing for free. So we're talking at the same level as the big political parties with hundreds of millions of dollars. We got somebody who, because he believes in this, is willing to work with us. So this is how Yes California wins. We don't have millions of dollars, but we can get people with the skill set equivalent to millions of dollars. No, I'm not exaggerating. Some of you I have told I think are that highly skilled. If I was actually paying you to be here, we'd have a 1.2, $2.5 million budget. I can't pay you nothing. You're here for free. So that's why we're activists. But it doesn't mean you're not at that skill level. Like for my self-example, um, if I was actually getting paid to be in management here, my price tag should be around 150, 200,000. I'm not saying that to be an egotist. I'm just saying, look at what we're doing. Okay, some of you are excellent at public relations. You're excellent at press releases. You're excellent at media angles. You're excellent at advertising. You're excellent at data. You're excellent at media articulation. We put all that together. Woo! So here we are. He's got a way to do data science learning, figure out the exact right terms. That puts us on a level equivalent to the both national political parties. And then we can sell that data and fundraise. Boom, boom, boom. So I'll leave it there.
Please remove
DeWonk,
that.
final comments, brother?
Let's sell that data in this because it can create us some problems.
Okay, so
We will
maybe
do
we
it
don't.
in a way. Yeah, maybe we will have that data because data is the new crude oil. If you know your clients, you can deal with anything. You know what they are up to. The privacy kind of thing that has been cut down by Google and Facebook. These social media sites have done a lot of damage to the privacy and security. So, having the data is the new crude. So we will be getting the data on all the Californians through all the survey camps and through internet. We will be data scrapping the data out of LinkedIn, out of the every social site that is on net on the doing this project.
And it's called sentimental analysis learning.
Yeah,
Okay, so if you
exactly.
want to look up sentimental analysis learning, that's the high level thing he's talking about. Obviously, there's going to be some issues we have to work through. We have to make sure that do it level, but recognize where we're at. We're going to be doing search engine optimization and looking at a level equivalent to both political parties, and we're going to be having a guy walk us through there. I'll leave it there. Thanks to Wonk. You have a permanent invite to come and speak. If anybody would like to be part of finding the right terms for CalExit, please give me a call or email, and we will hook you up. Um, okay. I'm going to go to um, Alexander for your translator saying you want to speak for about 5 minutes, sir. Sorry, we got a big agenda for about 5 minutes. Alexander, what would you like to say, sir?
Hi, everyone.
How's it going, Alexander?
I'm not good speak English, but I tried at the time, the 5 minutes, I understand. The first time, congratulations, the Luis Marineyev for the born the little child in Russia today in the
Paulina,
night.
Paulina,
Yes.
Paulina was born. Paulina was born. The newest California nationalist was born. She's going to lead us
Yes,
all.
but the first she is born to Russia.
Okay, but we're going to have a big battle here because I'm claiming her. All right, that girl is going to be raised to be a Californian. I know she's in a foreign country, but watch out. I'm going to be shipping tacos and LA Lakers jerseys to her. Okay, so I know she's a Russian, but she's going to be a Californian in her heart. I'm never going to let that go. So
In heart.
in heart.
Okay. Yes. California in the heart. Yeah. Okay. I'm speaking the Russian by my translator. Translate my speech. Thank you. Святослав, подключись, пожалуйста.
Да, на связи.
Скажу, что я рад приветствовать от имени антиглобалистского движения всех участников сегодняшней конференции. Я не займу много времени и, соответственно, еще раз поздравляю всех с тем, что в Калифорнии коронавирус начал наконец-то отступать, и я надеюсь, что мы вскоре все встретимся в рамках работы нашего международного экспертного совета, экспертной дискуссии «Диалог наций».
So I welcome everyone once again, and I congratulate you that the percentage of infected by COVID-19 in California is falling down, and I hope soon we will meet all together in real life in this conference, the Dialogue of Nations.
И я желаю всем членам движения «Да, Калифорния» и всем калифорнийцам в первую очередь здоровья, чтобы коронавирус их миновал, и они смогли дальше продолжить плодотворную работу.
So first of all, I wish to every member of this movement and to everyone in California, so this virus went away and we could start working once again with full power.
И мы надеемся в ближайшее время, я не могу назвать сроков, попробовать собрать всех в офлайн конференции «Диалог наций», представителей всех тех делегаций, которые были на втором съезде, и расширить, может быть, представительство, добавив новые организации.
And we are hoping soon to make a new conference to invite everyone from the second conference, Dialogue of Nations, and maybe to add some new organizations.
Безусловно, каждый раз, когда мы собираемся, это вызывает бурю негодования со стороны западных официальных лиц и средств массовой информации. Они начинают говорить о том, что мы ангажированы там российским правительством или еще кем-то. И я уверяю, что это и продолжится дальше, но мы действуем исключительно в рамках норм международного права. И, собственно говоря, если бы мы находились бы, например, на Украине, ну вообще в любой стране, кроме России, то, безусловно, бы ничего такого бы на Западе не писали. Но как только какая-то инициатива либо организация находится в России, это вызывает бурю эмоций и сразу пытаются эту работу задушить и скомпрометировать, что, безусловно, вызывает тревогу.
So for sure, we are trying to make best in our work, but often officials, state officials and media blame us that we are engaged, that we follow some particular political lines. But I assure you that we are working in the context of international law, and this only happens because we are from Russia. So if we would support your organization and we will be from any other country, nobody will talk about us. But since we are from Russia, it's like axis of evil, you know?
It's yes, but Russia's not the only one. So there are a variety of countries that America has said are enemies. And if you talk to any of them, you're a bad person. So recently, I made a video saying that California is a diverse culture. We have Russian immigrants here, and they're part of our culture, and they've affected our culture, and we love that. And we have Persian immigrants here, one of the largest populations outside of Iran, and they affected our culture, and they made help California culture, and we love them. And we have Jewish people here, one of the, I think, the 5th largest Jewish population in the world, and they affected our culture, and we love them. And we have Latinos. So what we did was we made a video saying California culture is diverse. We don't necessarily agree with what other countries' governments do, but we're not Americans. Our governor, Jerry Brown, said Americans build walls and Californians build bridges. Our governor said that. Okay, so America kicked out Russian ambassadors. Our governor, Jerry Brown, flew to Russia the next day saying Americans build walls and Californians build bridges. Why did he do that? Because he agrees with everything Vladimir Putin does? No. He did it because this is not the way to achieve international peace. This is not the way to influence governments. You keep dialogue going. You keep talking. So we got slammed for saying that to the people of Iran. And what I found interesting was no one said, oh, you know what? California is a diverse place and they're just trying to reach out to people. And yes, their governor said, we're not like Americans and we build bridges. They mentioned none of that. They just go, look at this horrible monster Marcus, and he must support every wicked, nasty thing that that government says. He wasn't talking about Russia. He was talking about another government. And it was all a lie. I never said that. That video never said that. That video talked about California culture. That video talked about our governor. That video talked about the way that we are and have been for 50 years. We are international. We do reach out to other people. We are the place where Persians live and Russians live and Indian people live. And guess what? They don't choose to live in America. What that tell you? So I disagree that it's just Russia. I do agree, though, America loves to pick on other countries and loves to do innuendo and loves to make things up and lie in the media just to trash things. And guess what? Yes, California ain't falling for it or buckling. We'll be at that international dialogue conference because you've done nothing wrong, because you've been a good partner, because you said, hey, I want to have an open dialogue with people and share it with the public, and because you've done a human rights things. I mean, Jason goes on and on about the things, Alexander, you did for the people of Ethiopia. That's really impressive, sir. Now, maybe you and I don't have the same politics. Maybe we don't see eye to eye on government things. That's not why we're going to this dialogue. It's called a dialogue. It just means we talk to each other. And we are proud to exemplify California values and back Governor Brown by not being like Americans and reaching out and building bridges. With love, sir, I say that. Alexander, I'm going to give you 2 more minutes to make a last comment. And then with respect, sir, we have members of the South African Cape Party here, and I want to introduce them. So Alexander, 2 more minutes, sir. Say whatever you want to say, and nothing but love. I hope I said that correctly, sir.
Thank you, Marcus. I have to joke to you about the American mass media. And Святослав, скажи, у меня есть просто 2 шутки про американские масс-медиа. Первое. В 2017 году Playboy написал статью, в которой сказал о том, что я являюсь другом Путина, и он дал мне $500 000 на то, чтобы я занимался отделением Калифорнии. И я подал в суд на Playboy, и не потому, что там были изображены чьи-то плохие груди, а потому что он написал такую статью.
So there are two jokes about this politics in the United States. Like 2017, Playboy magazine wrote an article about Alexander and said that Alexander is Putin's friend and got some $1 million or something to support California independence.
И я подал на них в суд, но не потому, что мне не понравилась чья-то грудь в развороте Playboy, а как раз из-за этого заявления.
So I sued them, but not because I didn't like some breasts there, but because of this statement.
И они ответили очень интересно. Они говорят: Александр, он же ваш президент. Чем мы портим вашу репутацию? Я говорю: ну это же неправда, вы же пишете ложь. В итоге суд постановил, что эта статья видна для жителей Соединенных Штатов и других IP, но не видна для жителей Евразии. То есть было очень интересное решение, и тоже политическое.
So they said, what's your problem? It's your president. I said, okay, my problem is not that it's my president, it's a problem that it's a lie. And this court made the decision that this article was directed towards American citizens, not towards Europe.
Yeah.
Что очень странно. И вторая
Strange.
вещь. 2 года назад я стал работать продюсером и работаю с многими телеканалами и зарубежными СМИ, но это моя работа, да. И многие журналисты, которые представляют Washington Post, New York Times, Bloomberg, работающие здесь, со мной очень активно общаются и приглашают меня к себе на день рождения, на всякие мероприятия. Но когда я их спрашиваю: ребята, почему же вы пишете про меня всякие компрометирующие статьи? Они говорят: слушай, а ты наш друг, плохой пиар – это тоже пиар, ну и потом ты понимаешь, это наша работа, нам за нее платят, мы пишем то, что нам говорят.
So another thing is, since about 2 years, I'm working as a producer with a series of channels, and I meet with people working there, and we are friends. I ask them a lot, why are you writing lies about me? And they say, okay, you should understand, it's our job. We are getting paid to say what we say.
I'll have to leave it there. Thank you. Thank you. I got to leave it there. We got to get on and thank you. I get it. I'm going to leave it there, but I will point out this. I'm Mexican. Progressive newspapers have said that I'm a white supremacist. I made a video celebrating California culture and saying that we love the fact that Jewish people are here and Persian people and Latinos and Indian people. And then I was called a supporter of every horrible thing the Iranian government does. Never said that, never felt that way. Love Jewish people, love the fact Israel exists. Additionally, Nicholas Wildstar, who's also a board member, hates Donald Trump and never voted for him. He's called a white supremacist because he supports low taxes. So they go, oh, you're saying low taxes, that must mean you're Republican, which must mean you voted for Trump, which must mean you love him. And none of that's true. Adam Kokesh is also a board member. Adam went to a conference and there were some anti-Semitic white supremacists there. And he said, I would rather talk with you because things are getting so icy, people are about ready to start shooting at each other. And since I am a Marine and I was in combat in a foreign country and I was shot at, I don't think that's good. War's bad. Let's have peace. No, I don't agree with what you're saying at all, but I would rather reduce the tension so people don't get killed because I've seen where that goes. Because he did that, Adam Kokesh was called an anti-Semite. Adam Kokesh is part Jewish. So Latino men are white supremacists, black men love Donald Trump, even if that's not true, and Jewish people can be called anti-Semites. And that's just 3 people here in America. So that's the way it is. Okay, moving on. Lucas Jans van Vuren. Lucas Jans van Vuren, are you there, sir?
Yes. Can you see
Okay.
me?
So normally we're gonna start at 12 with the Congress. I'm gonna push it back 5 minutes, just 5. Yes, we're staying on time, but this is the first time, so give me a little flexibility. What I wanna do is introduce the South African Cape Party. I'm gonna have Lucas explain what the South African Cape Party is. It's an independent movement. From what I understand, a ethnically diverse, slightly different cultural region from the rest of South Africa that has a much better economy and is basically a donor state to the rest of South Africa. So here's Cape, here's the rest of South Africa. It's a larger body. They make a lot of money. They have a history going back 200 to 300 years. They're way more culturally diverse than the rest of this thing, but their money gets sucked into this thing, and then they get trash talked here, and they don't get their money back. Sound familiar, folks? So, Lucas, in 5 minutes and no more, who are you? Did I get that right? What's your party about? Your words, sir.
Yeah, so I have a little bit of a PowerPoint, a few PowerPoints that I made, just 15, and I wish I would have had more time to make them accurate and have good wording and so on. But could you let me share the screen?
Yes. Can I do that? No. All right, give me 1 second. I need to figure out how to get you to share screen. Multiple participants can share simultaneously. Share screen. Okay, I'm not a techie. If anybody has an idea on what button I'm supposed to press right now to make this work, please
You have
jump
to
on
make
in.
him host.
Okay.
No. So at the share screen button, the green one in the center, there should be a little option button on the right.
Advanced sharing options?
Yes, and then you allow other than the host to share.
Okay, 1 second. Sorry, everybody. We're gonna get better at this. Multiple participants. Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? Only host.
Excellent. I think I can share now.
One second. All participants. Okay. Okay, there you go.
Okay, you all can see
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. So these are just 15 or so slides, just putting like basic information out there. I converted all the currency into dollars as of today. So it's a much smaller economy than California, but it's also quite a different situation. We have around a $50 billion economy, around 7 million people. Singapore is around 5.5 million. Sweden was around 10 million. So hopefully you can see around that we are a pretty small sized nation. It's not like a mega state at all. But the land area we have is quite big. That is the size of England or 3 times the size of the Netherlands. So the province itself, the people of the province pay in a large amount of taxes, 15.8 billion, to the treasury, which is held by the national government, which is controlled by the African National Congress Party. They then, through treasury, decide how much money goes to which province and to which municipality and so on. And they do this according to legislation, the Division of Revenue Act. And of course, why would they put more money into a province that is dominated by their opposition? So they give back only $4.66 billion to the Western Cape government, which is VA control, the Democratic Alliance political party controls them. So what we see is that the Western Cape governs exceptionally efficiently. I've read articles where they're described as almost technocratic, and yeah, there's no frills. It's very good governance. It's evidence-based, it's efficient, innovative, and I don't really have much bad to say about their physical governance. And you can see the results very clearly. I'll show you in some of the slides some of the benefits that the Western Cape, the province, has and that Cape Town has in comparison to the rest of South Africa. So this is just a political results from 2019. And you can see that the ANC is the national government. And in the Western Cape, they get only 28% of the vote. So in the Western Cape province that we are based in, the Democratic Alliance gets 55% of the vote. And it's the only province of all 9 that doesn't have the ANC as an outright majority government. So one of the independence groups love saying this, but since 1994, when South Africa became a reformed democracy, not once has the Western Cape and its people given the ANC a mandate to put their wills and their laws and their ideologies upon them. Never once have the ANC gotten above 50% in the province. And the poor kicker in this is that the province itself has very little power over very important functions like the rail infrastructure, power, electricity, water, the universities, and so on. So all of these are functions of the national government and not of the provincial government. So even if this province went and 100% of the people wanted, for example, to increase the budget for education, if the ANC and the national government and the other provinces didn't want to do this, then it wouldn't matter what the Cape wants, they would never get it. So in this way, I feel that it is not as democratic as a system could be in that way. So unlike in Spain, where secession is illegal, in South Africa, it is not an illegal act. Sedition isn't a thing, and it's a political issue, so we need to gain support. This is a dire strait of South Africa. So you can see the top one basically shows you the number of people, the number of families or households earning that level of income. And I didn't convert this to dollars, but the point of this graph or these diagrams are just to show you that the middle class has essentially halved in less than 3 years. And the latest data, the bottom uses only June data, which is not even that far into the pandemic and lockdown. So you can imagine that even more middle class people have fallen down into poverty and out of the middle class. So for a few years now, we have had a situation where the number of social grant recipients, people living off of government grants, has grown to a level of higher than the amount of taxpayers that we have. Compare that with our very high level of taxes for a developing nation, we have an exceptionally high burden on our taxpayers. The history of this country is quite interesting, but now for more than 2 decades, we've had exceptionally high unemployment of at least 20, coming up to around 30% now on the unexpanded rate. And this is not helped by the fact that we have exceptionally porous borders. I think we need a war more than you do at this point. There's so many Zimbabweans, Mozambicans, Africans just flooding into South Africa, because at the end of the day, it is more developed, it has more opportunities, and it offers public health care and education that they wouldn't have in their countries. And pair this with the fact that there's so much heroin coming into the country because the borders aren't controlled, that we have a massive problem where they basically mix heroin with HIV medication and smoke this. It's called nyope, and it is everywhere in the townships as youth struggle to gain jobs, and there's so many fatherless households. So society as a whole isn't functioning here. In the last few years, debt has been growing very fast. In 2020, I think it was 19, we had a 19% budget deficit.
Wait, what are they doing? Hold on, I got a question. They're mixing HIV medicine and heroin and smoking it?
Sam?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I heard that right. That sounds crazy.
Yeah. Yes.
Lucas, you got
it's quite
Lucas, you got about 2 more minutes. I know you got a bunch of slides, but I'm sorry.
Okay. I'll just go through this quick. So South Africa itself is heading towards a bad space with a bad government, with bad policies. And the system we're in is a very centralized system. It's not like a federal system where states have more powers and legislatures and can handle most of their own affairs like it is in USA or Germany or in France. Whilst being twice the size of France, we are a unitary state consisting of 3 tiers of government: local, provincial, and national. And the national government has the most power of all, which is controlled by the ANC. They have 8 out of 9 provinces under their outright majority rule. And they are, as the slide says, it is a Black nationalist party with heavy communist and socialist elements. They have quite a few members in cabinet who are card-holding members of the South African Communist Party, and they practice proven poor policy without any good reason, any good effects. We have load shedding, power outages, unemployment, brain drain, stagnant growth, and so on. Cape Town is doing much better than the rest of South Africa, quite a lot better, and it's had exceptional growth in terms of technological startups, technology, fintech. We have great universities, 4 of them, and it generally is going quite well here. It has quite diverse economy. These are some of the investments that are recently being made in Cape Town or the rest of the province. It might be small in comparison to California, but for its size economy and the population, these are quite good numbers. Even more plans to invest and expand Cape, the independence movement. So Cape Exit is one of the groups that have 704,000 official registrations. Now, in the Western Cape, only around 3 million people would be eligible to vote when taking into consideration age and all of those things. So this is already a great amount. The Cape Party has registered 14,000 members and is planning to run this election for this year's local elections very hard. United Liberty Alliance has 342,000 mandates. We're hoping to gain independence through a referendum, which would require 51% of the referendum to say yes. The provincial government needs to be in favor of this. What else can I say about this? It is doing well compared to the biggest party in the province. It's gaining ground. Sorry, in this image in the bottom here is we had our first physical march this year from one town to another, and I must say I could not have asked for a better turnout. People of all creeds, all colors, all stations in life, and the local culture came out. The people had these drums and rhythms going on, and it was such a nice day. It was in the high 30s, 30 Celsius. It was quite a hot day, but people came out. We're looking at many more marches like that in the next year. So the cultural differences, we would say this province votes differently, yes, but also in some official surveys, it is shown that most people in the Western Cape are pro-capitalist, pro-business, pro-free enterprise. Most people in the rest of South Africa are opposed to that. They are pro-socialism, pro-communism, and vastly support the policies of the ANC. The Cape is the most diverse province in South Africa by far. It has a deeper history, it has more intermingling over a longer time, and it has been very comparatively densely occupied compared to the rest of South Africa. Some other parties that also support independence, but not as a single issue, is the Freedom Front and the Cape Colored Congress. A lobbying group that basically pushes this and has done a great job is the Cape Independence Advocacy Group, the CIAG. And these are the logos of these groups. This is just to show another voting map. So I don't know if you can see the map, but the bottom left part where it's more blue, that is the Western Cape. So you can see very clearly that there's a massive discrepancy in terms of voting patterns. The problems we have are not that hard to tackle. With all the extra money we would have, keeping the taxes inside of the province, we would be able to solve so many of these problems by focusing on addressing our issues like crime, healthcare, education, spending some money on infrastructure, investments into new universities, transport links, and so on. I'm sure that we can push the Cape into a better future, and that this is what Spespona means, the official motto of the Cape. It means good hope. So yeah, I have good hope for the Cape. I hope that through independence, we can enable people who want to make a difference, who want to make the Cape a great place to live, who want to enjoy the most beautiful place in the world, in my opinion. Of course, California is also beautiful.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I have
Thank
to
you.
say.
I'm going to turn it back to everybody for comments. We're a little bit past the clock. I do want to follow that, but this is also very important. I will say this. So if you look at Cape versus the rest of South Africa, Cape tends to vote for one political party that's not popular in the entire rest of South Africa. California tends to be a little bit more Bernie Sanders, which is not the way the rest of America is. The Cape Party has a different sort of economy than the rest of South Africa, and they're more geared and supportive of that style of economy. California versus America is much more international trade focused than America. So our economy is based upon immigration and trade. America's isn't. So here's another economic difference. And then diversity. So South Africa is an African nation, and that's awesome. But if you look at the provinces, they're mostly 90% Black African, which is great. But Cape is the only reason it has like 30% Black African, and then 30% mixed race group, which is huge, and then a smaller percentage of Caucasian people. And then even though it's 1%, it's like 300 or 400% more diversity of people from the Indian subcontinent. So when you look at Cape compared to the rest of South Africa, it's wildly diverse. And it wildly has a different sort of economy, and it wildly votes different than the rest of them. And as you saw, it's a donor state, and it doesn't get back its same allotment. So I am not saying or speaking for the group, but I'm saying, wow, that looks just like CalExit. Now, I'm sure somebody's going, well, this difference and that difference, but you vote differently. You're ethnically different. You're way more diverse. You have different opinions about stuff. You never vote that way. And they're sucking all the money off and making sure you don't get fair pay. Wow,
yes.
That's just like us. So I would like to offer to you, and this would have to be approved by the Congress. Lucas, we would like to offer you, and this would have to be approved by Congress, a ambassador position on the Yes California board. We're trying to get ambassadors from many different nations. We have one from a couple others. We recently took one from Texas. So that's a standing offer. Of course, it would have to be approved by the Congress. So for about 5 minutes, and then we're going to get to Congress business, trying to make this all work. I understand, and we will end at 12:30 sharp, I promise you, and go to public comment. But for about 5 minutes, comments from CalExit members to South Africa. Sam, I think you had your hand raised first. Let's keep the comments about a minute.
I was just going to say, I never heard of anybody smoking heroin and AIDS medicine. That's crazy stuff, man.
Okay, let's keep the comments to independence movements, please. I'm fascinated by that topic too, but a little bit focused. Jason, and please be brief.
Yeah, I think it's great that you drew all of those parallels. As Lucas was talking, I was thinking exactly the same thing. Wow, that's just like us. Oh, wow, that's just like us. And he spoke of, the donor state and showed the figures of, I believe it was like 48 billion given out and only like 4 billion and some change coming back. That's even worse than us. Oh my goodness. We give a lot and we get barely any of it back, but the dollar amount is just, wow, that is insane. I can only imagine what Cape could do with that money. Like you said, we could spend it on our healthcare, education, our internal services, and yeah, man, wow.
Okay, other comments about independence and what they're going through there from anyone? Okay, we'll leave it there. Lucas, 2 minutes, closing statements, brother. Anything you want to say? Obviously, you are invited back, and I would hope that you would consider the ambassador position. Yes, it would have to be approved by Congress, but this is what we do. And Congress recently approved our mission statement to raise the profile of Yes California as the top CalExit group around the planet. Lucas, 2 more minutes. Last comments? What would you like to say to everybody here in CalExit, brother?
Yeah, I think, thank you for letting me come. It's been nice, like spreading the message. Yeah, in a lot of ways, if I had more time, I would have added this to the slides, but it would have taken more time. California and the Western Capes, even the geology, even the climate is quite similar. We also, the type of climate, we also have the same water problems from the mountains, and the Central Valley of fertile, highly agricultural soil, and then the metro with the creative people and the technology. So I really, this independence movement really gives me hope. And for young people who are like more apathetic sometimes in politics, I think spread a message of hope. Like what can you achieve when California succeeds? Like what kind of a future could you give your children? That's what I would like to. That's my suggestion or my advice, because hope is much stronger than hate or than fear. And then also give information. We're working hard on providing actual solutions, actual stats, actual plans, because people are afraid of change. And if you give them more clarity on what will happen or what the plan is, they might be more happy to support your movement because they know there is a plan. So.
We're going to have you back on. We're getting growing, so we're dealing with a lot of org issues. So I'm going to move on to the Congress part. We are 15 minutes behind. That was my choice. Trying to be accommodating. And yes, I'll make sure it lines up exactly at 12 in the future. So just trying to fit things in. I understand I'm 15 minutes behind. I am sorry for the board, and we will get that tightened up in the future. I promise you, and I am trying to do that. Lucas, come back and email me and consider what I said. We would definitely like to do it. We have found that when we link independence movement, it raises the profile of both. I've looked into you. You seem to not be anti-California values, although you have your own politics. And so I'd like to offer you a position. Of course, it'd have to be approved by the Congress. I would remind the Congress, though, this is a publicity project that meets the mission statements that the Congress approved itself. So moving on, we're going to go right into business. And just for giggles, let me do this. So I'm gonna, oh, that didn't work. Okay, so I'm gonna share screen. I'm gonna play this for everybody. And here we go. So smoothly, I'm telling you. You know, we do that with clock in, we clock out. What's wrong with coming in when you get up, going home to the work's done? I mean, there's not things in Silicon Valley. Who might argue we can do that? Okay, so that was a Netflix show. It's called The Crew. It's on Netflix right now. It's a big show. And the reason I love using StreamYard, well, that's easy. I can make it. 1 second, sorry. My bad. So, Netflix show, and they make a joke about how, you know, we're Americans and California culture is so bizarre. That show came out last week. So, major show, major sponsor all over Netflix. Watch The Crew, watch The Crew, watch The Crew. Check this out. America, 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 America. And then, well, we're not like California. Oh, I know. They didn't say New York. They didn't say Portland. What'd that mean? Okay. Moving on. I'm going to get to the agenda. So right off the bat, we need to talk about the CALEXIT Congress. This is my time to ask the Congress if they would like to suggest a different name if they can't live with it. And hopefully they'll go along with the Congress. But let me show you something first before you deliberate. So you should be seeing a screen. This is the website for CALEXIT Congress. If you go to www.CALEXIT Congress right there, this is the logo that we developed. Yes, that can be edited by Congress. This is just so that we get something professional up and going. Here's the screen statement. Here's the about the Congress, what it does. the powers that it has. We'll straighten this out, but you can see, you know, we would propose resolutions and people could donate, and that money would be directed by Congress. We can pass resolutions. Those will be listed here. That'll be the official statement of Yes California. And here's the Congress helping to move forward, California flag, and then information if somebody wants to contact anybody. They do not contact you directly. They go through the site asking to speak to you, and then we filter out all the crazies, and only real people who want to talk would ever actually see you. Let's enter the Congress now. And this is the really hardcore part. This is the form. So this is what the board said they wanted to have in order to discuss. Yes, this can be edited. So statements from the president, major discussions by the group, things that we would want to have resolutions on. You can continue to discuss here 24 hours a day. So even when the Sunday meetings are over, you can discuss anything you want and continue the conversation here. So we're moving beyond Sunday meetings, the emails, and WhatsApp. Now, emails allow us to stay contacted. WhatsApp is for casual conversation. This is going to be 24/7. All day, any time of day, you can discuss in detail the resolutions and really get into it. Here are the rules so that people can go over that. Here's the elections and appointments, the committees, who's on the committees, the heads of the committees, resolutions that are now under consideration. So this was, you know, somebody proposed a resolution, maybe they went to the Independence Committee or the Domestic or Foreign Committee, worked out some text, and then presented it to Congress. Congress could review that resolution and we could have votes within 48 hours. So when we're saying work on the text of the resolution, you would go here to the forum, engage in the discussion here, and you'd have 24, 48 hours, whenever Congress approves for it. Approved resolutions would be ones that are now the official statement of Yes California. Rejected ones would be ones that we proposed didn't get for. And then here's some of the committees, rules, domestic, international. We can add every single committee that you want here. Introductions for the members, resignations, anybody who wanted to leave. The lobbies, open to everybody. So this is going to be the meat of how we get things done and having detailed conversations. There'll also be the chance for people to blog post here. Let me show that. So it's not populated yet, but you can see it. And then when we back out, we go back to calexitcongress.com. So you see the Congress, you enter, that connects you to the forum. This Calexit Congress thing is going to be linked to the Yes California website. So you go to Yes California, you can go to the Calexit Congress, which is a separate page, directly controlled by Congress, and then you can go directly to the forum, where anybody who's a Congress member will have access. People who are not Congress members will not have access. And then we go down, connect, resolutions, our campaign. One second. Yeah, that's the Calexit campaign, so it links back. We have a post already about the Congress on Yes California, talking about it. We're also going to issue the mission statement here. Let me just type this in so I can show you how easy it is. Give it 1 second. Okay. And this is the page. So it's all there. Let me return. Stop share. Okay. Now it's your turn. So let me do a quick ask. Is anybody disgusted and cannot live with the term Calexit Congress? I talked to some of the people who proposed different terms before, like Matt Owens, and he said, you know, I was proposing another term, but I could live with Calexit Congress if everybody wants it. So if you are horrified by the term Calexit Congress, you don't think it works, this is your chance to say, hey, I think it's bad and unworkable and we should look at something else. So I'm going to turn it over to the board, and anyone's free to give their opinion now. Okay, if anybody cannot live with the term CALEXIT Congress, this is your chance to say how and why. Not trying to be a meanie. A lot of people have already come around, but if the group says, you know, a majority said we can't live with it, then that's that. Additionally, every decision can also always be reviewed by the Congress and retrofitted in the future. We're just trying to get housekeeping knocked off. So doesn't mean it's the end. There's the Corporate Culture Committee that's going to be constantly making suggestions. There's the Rules Committee that's going to be making suggestions. There's the 2 resolution committees. So it's not the end of the story. But what we're going to try to do is, we had a big meeting last week. We passed a lot of changes. I want to reduce that to small conversations. If you have really big ideas on how the organization needs to change in the rules, you go to that committee and have us talk as long as you want. Talk for 15 days straight. I don't care, in the committee. Then when the committee says, we think this is what's up, it would come back to Congress. But Congress, you all, in the hour and a half, I kind of demand that you be here if you can once a month, you spend about this much time. Committees spend this much, and it gets shrunken down to a quick decision here. So it's not the end of the story. We can retrofit everything, but I want it to go to committees. And I want to have very little time from Congress discussing these things. So last chance, anybody can't live with the word CALEXIT Congress? Okay. Then another point of order. Please spend this week looking at the calexitcongress.com and the forum. It is yours. I directed some people to develop something that I thought was highly corporate and would make us look professional. If you have ideas on how to change it, tell me. So think about it this week. We'll kind of officiate it next week. This is the week to look it over. Hey, I don't like the way that's worded. This logo, that, change this, change that. I didn't just order this to be designed, and Lewis basically did a lot of this at my direction. I asked him to because he's really good at making things look corporate and professional. So, however, it's your Congress. If you don't like something's worded, you don't like this image, you don't like that, let's have a discussion. If you start talking, people have to listen. However, just because you don't like it doesn't mean we're going to change it. A good chunk of the board would have to agree. So please speak up, please give your opinion and try to influence others. It's yours. All I was trying to do is show that we are moving quick. You wanted a professional website? It's here. You wanted it linked to Yes California, showing it's actually the word Yes California? It's here. You wanted the ability to issue resolutions and say the official word of the largest CALEXIT group? It's here. You wanted to have a place to have the most professional, coordinated, detailed conversations about Congress going forward and allowing for 24-hour operations? It's here. You asked for that last week, it's here now. So yeah, I'm making mistakes. Yeah, we're not getting everything done. But what I'd like you to look at is, you speak, I'd jump 18 feet high into the air, trying to make you happy. And the goal is, I'll keep doing that as long as we keep trying to do better, more professional. There was a question from Mike on who is hosting the site. I believe it's GoDaddy. Lewis, is that correct? The CALEXIT Congress site? And who is hosting the forum? What is the, I know you just had a baby, brother. Thanks for showing up. I love Paulina. She's going to be telling me what to do, I'm sure, soon. What's the name of the forum, or what is the program the forum runs on?
It's all on GoDaddy and WordPress.
Okay, GoDaddy website, WordPress is the forum. There you go. It's up to the thing. I'm gonna turn it over to Congress for comments. We're not doing a detailed review of the website and forum here today. This was to show it's here, officiate the title. We'll have a detailed conversation in a week when people have a good 5 days to go over it and think about it. So initial comments about reviewing the website. Does anybody have any tips on things they'd like to tell the board members when they're reviewing the site this week and in anticipation of this discussion next week? I want to kick it back to anybody to say their piece. Okay. We are about 1 minute away from the board meeting. So I'm going to end the meeting on time. We didn't get to everything. I will move some of those issues to next week, and we will discuss them. Sorry, trying to stay on track. Yes, so it has been brought to my attention that we were going to vote on committees and committee heads. I can't do that unless you all agree to stay longer. I made a promise to all of you. Meeting is an hour and a half. So I'm ready to end this meeting now. Lewis.
You might suggest to test out the forum by running a election through the forum, see if people like it, see if people can figure out how to use it, and then use this opportunity to select committee heads using the forum. And they can do it all week long until the next call, giving everybody 6 days to chime in and vote. Might be a good way just to see if people like the way the forum works.
Very good. Jason, 1 second. Christine had a comment. The way the voting system works that was approved by Congress at the last week was that we would talk about the issues that were going to be voted on Thursday evening. That would go out in an agenda to everybody. I was a little bit slow. That came out Friday morning. I need to get better at that. But typically, hey, we're voting on X on Sunday, comes out Thursday night. If you can't make it Sunday, you have the opportunity to email your votes in to me. I would collect them. On Sunday, we would add all those emailed votes plus whoever's here right now in a vote. And we would choose if that looks like it's a yes or no. However, that would go in the notes, and people would have an additional 48 hours afterwards to additionally vote. So you get a vote beforehand, you get a vote at the meeting, and you get a vote 48 hours afterwards. And we're going to package that into the forum. So based upon that, yes, we can vote, but we'd also need to give people 48 hours to choose. So I'd like to take Lewis's suggestion and say, let's try to have the forums do these committee head votes and committee approvals. If it doesn't work, we'll come back Sunday and go into it. Jason.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion that every member of CalExit Congress, whether they are currently on this meeting or not, by 11 a.m. Pacific time next Sunday, by the time that next CalExit Congress meeting starts, every member will have cast a vote for each of these committees that needs a head. That is my motion. Can I get a second?
I second.
I love you guys. I love you guys. You guys are constantly pushing me to be more professional. So, okay, is anyone opposed to that idea? Yes, we're going to implement Robert's rules. We're going to get better. I had to do some other things before I became an expert on that. So anyone opposed to that idea? Okay, let's do, Lewis.
Yeah, I'm not so much opposed to it. I would like to clarify a point. If the motion is approved that everyone must do that, what is the response if someone does not?
So the way that we've approved the voting last week was basically like this. And again, it can be revisited in the Rules Committee. Rules Committee can go over it. The only thing we're saying is we're not replacing something just because no one likes it. There has to be a workable replacement. So this is the voting system now. Every congressman
I think you misunderstood the question. I think I'm getting at, if we're passing a resolution that says that everybody on the committee must or shall do something, and let's say John Q does not, then is there any kind of reaction to John Q not following the order of the committee?
No. So if I may, the rules that we passed last time for the voting system, which can be revised by rules, but would need to go through the Rules Committee, get consensus, come up with an alternative, then be re-proposed to Congress, and then Congress would vote in, and that's the only way it's going to change. Until that happens, our current plan for all voting is you're told Thursday before Sunday what we're voting on. You have the chance to email your vote in about 3 days ahead of time. You have the chance to go to the meeting, and then you have your chance to vote about 48 hours afterwards. So we could do that with this. If people don't participate, there is no punishment, there is no nothing. It's more that you had 3 chances to vote. And if you're that bothered by something, you should have showed up at some point. And if it looks like a lot of people are going for this and we don't have a ton of people against it, we're moving forward so that we're not hindered by 1 or 2 loud voices. So there's always going to be someone upset. But if it looks like most people who even bothered to participate before, during, or after think it's a good idea and only 1 or 2 or a few don't, we're moving forward. That's at least the process that we voted in last week. If people don't like that, I totally get it. But that's to be worked out in the Rules Committee, consensus, brought back to Congress. So that's the way it would have to be here. Jason.
I propose an amendment to my motion that any non-vote just gets counted as an abstain, so that if anyone does not actually vote on a head of a committee, that it doesn't count against them, nor does it count against the vote.
Can we get a second?
Second that.
Did I do that right, guys? Did I do that right? I see Christine smiling. Okay, Jason, okay. All right, that's what we're gonna do. Please take a look. We're gonna use the forum to try to get the votes on the committee. I will put that in the notes today, and I'll put the links out. And just be clear, my brain is about this small when it comes to new tech. A lot of you keep coming to me and go, Marcus, here's this new app, sell everybody on it. And I'm like, I'm the worst person to sell it. So I'm looking at you. Please help populate the forum. It's your forum. Please help have opinions on the website. I mean, I don't want to retrofit the whole thing, but basically it's yours. And I'm really going to be leaning on you, the Congress, to make it the forum alive and active and what you want it to be. I think there was a question here. Can't do that. Abstention is for a different reason. Can't be automatic for. So Mike's saying you can't have abstention. Can't be automatic for non-voting. I'm not sure what to do with that. We voted in a voting process. So again, you don't have to like it, but it ain't changing unless you go to the Rules Committee, work through the alternative, get consensus of the Rules Committee, then comes back to Congress. Lewis.
I know I haven't been at all of the calls for the whole duration. If the group has adopted Robert's Rules of Orders, then you can't do that, is what I think what Mike is saying. But if the group has not done that, then you can have Mickey Mouse Rules of Orders and do whatever you want to do. The question is, has the group officially adopted Robert's Rules of Orders? If it has, I think that's a good thing. And then in which case, I think that maybe Jason could amend his amendment, say that the people who don't vote would be counted as NVs, non-voting, or not having voted, or whatever you want to call it.
We did vote in Robert's Rules of Order. Jason.
Yes, exactly. So another amendment to another amendment to my amendment of the motion.
We're getting there.
That any non-voters get tallied as a non-vote and not as an abstain.
I second that.
Okay, I think Mike is saying that's correct. He was pointing out what Lewis said about Robert's Rules.
Yeah, I just seconded the original amendment because I wasn't aware that you had all officially adopted the Robert's Rules of Orders, which is what you should have done. So it's good. But good. So that issue is cleared up now. We're going to count the people who don't vote as NVs, and that'll be that.
Mike agrees with you too. So that's great. I can't tell you how awesome it is to have people who understand Robert's Rules of Order. So, other people are doing it. Okay, then that's what we'll do. We'll leave it at I'm going to send out the links for the CALEXIT Congress site and the forum. Please populate the forum. We're going to use the forum for voting on the committees and the heads. I've proposed people as heads of those committees. You do not have to agree with my proposal. Yeah, 1 second, please. You don't have to agree with my proposal. I stand by my suggestions, but Congress can pick someone else. Additionally, half those committees don't have anyone suggested. So we still need some sort of official vote saying, yes, we're cool with these committees, because right now we only have fundraising and judicial. So we need something saying we're doing them. And then we need something on the heads. Louis, then Christine.
Yeah, so when you go to the website to register on the forum, you're not going to be able to do anything unless you register yourself. You need to create an account. I forget the word. You'll see at the top menu, basically there's a place that says register. Maybe Marcus could show the screen again.
Yeah, let me do that right now.
Okay. You're going to have to register as a new user. And the way that the forum works, I'm sure that many of you are familiar with it. Users are granted a certain level of access based on based on what we give them. And so you, as a member of the CALEXIT Congress, if you got to go to the actual forum.
This is the forum.
There you go. So there's the register button up there, right? Register, yeah.
Where?
See that in the gray, Marcus? Register in the gray menu.
Ah, the one that says register. Register.
Yeah.
Got it.
So you'd go there to register so that I can give you the access, because the public, everybody in the public will have access to the lobby, the very bottom forum. That's just for public comments, so that people can make public comments. But if you want to have access to the parts of the daily operations of the Congress itself, those committee groups, those voting groups, and so on and so forth, you're going to have to create one of these usernames and emails and so on and so forth. And then we can approve it and you can have access at that point in time. That's the way that we're going to be able to make where only actual members of the Congress can vote and participate in certain threads and participate in certain forums, and then that way the public, can just come in and to the website and just start posting everything everywhere. It'll be a mess. So the public has one area that they can go to in public. They're publicly post whatever they want to post. Of course, it'll be moderated to some extent, but the most of it is going to be exclusively just for the members to hold intra-Congress discussions and votes and things of that nature. If Marcus scrolls down to the bottom, you'll see the lobby. That section is for the public. That section, as I understand, you don't even have to register. You can post there. I mean, I have to check that because this is new. We're going to go through it, but I think that anybody, even a guest, can just go there and post something. Is that true, Marcus? Did you click on that?
Yeah. Let me see if I can. Yeah. Let's just go. Marcus.ruiz.emmons@gmail. Topic: can the public comment on the CALEXIT Congress? People are really curious to know how the forum operates. People. Okay, and I am not a robot. And I'm going to skip tags and add topic.
The post?
Yep, it's unapproved. Okay, so someone, so the public can comment, but someone has to approve it.
Yeah, so basically I'll get a message, or I can set up where Marcus gets a message in the email that says, John Q would like to post a message on the board, and then you can approve it, basically. So, and that way we can see beforehand, so there's not spam, because we get a lot of spam things, and we've seen people come on our pages and post like 500 messages of just garbage, rapidly just repost, just garbage. So we have to have some kind of a mechanism to approve those comments, and we can officially create a rule that says that as long as it's not spam, we approve it in order to respect freedom of speech, and so on and so forth. But that's basically the works. But you're not going to be able to do that in any of the other posts sections without registering. And as far as I understand, we'll have to check to make make sure it works as I expect it does. But if you do register and you are granted the status, I think it's standard. There's different levels of membership basically. Then you should, after you register, you should be able to post without approval at that point in time. You should be able to just post and it gets automatically approved. That's the goal anyway. If it doesn't work, if somebody registers and tries to post something and it says unapproved or something like that, send Marcus a message so we can fix the settings and make it where that members can post without approval.
So you would log in, you would register.
Well, yeah, after you
And then you
register,
would
you then log in, and then you would be able to post as a member. I think first we probably have to approve the register. You have to,
Yeah.
So if you do register, you probably get an email. Just make sure you use your real name so we know who you are, and then we can give you that status so that you can just start posting and doing your business there. If you're Marcus Evans and you post up there something like, I don't know, Marquitos, maybe I don't know who that is. All right, so, just use your name and we'll probably get some kind of a notification about a registry, and then we can give you the status that you need to start posting. If anybody, by the way, wants to be a volunteer moderator who's going to be responsible for deleting spam or other like profanity or something like that, then we might be interested in taking volunteers, but we can do that at a later date.
Please volunteer. I don't want another job, so please volunteer. But yeah, you would register, and then forums is where you would go, and you could comment only if you're a member here, and you could make discussions. This is high-level discussion. Here's where we're talking about the rules. Here's where you can go on. I was suggesting different heads, and then here's the resolutions.
And Mark, real quick about that resolution section. So if we have the, for example, the resolutions under consideration, if there's one of those issues that we're voting on, let's say, for example, it's proposed orally on the phone call on a Sunday, after that phone call gets put into that forum, and then the members would have up until what, like you said, Thursday, right? Basically, you'd have up until Thursday, if you weren't on the phone call or you wanted to think about it, to go in there and you'd see the text of the resolution, and then you could either we'll add a poll where you could just click yay, nay, or abstain or whatever, or you can add a comment. We'll see how it works. So we're gonna have to like just play around with it a little bit in the beginning to see how it works. But I think you're gonna be able to add a poll, which we can then have the members just click what their vote is, and then we'll have that record there. And if it gets approved, then we'll just move. There's a way to like move the post. We would move the post from resolutions under consideration to either approved or rejected. If it gets into the approved, then we also put it on the calexit.com, calexitcongress.com blog as well, the blue page that Marcus was showing you before the forum. It'll go there. There's a section there that says resolutions, which is basically a blog, but it'll be our resolutions. And then it'll be publicly the official position of Yes California, well, official position of the California independence movement on that particular issue. So here there aren't any resolutions because we don't have posted anything. But once we do post, it'll automatically show up there.
So it's built in. See, everybody can see it's a full circle. So you discuss them on the forum, they get approved. Here's the discussion. Here's the votes. Here's what's approved. Here's what it didn't approve. These approved resolutions come back and then are reposted back on the Congress. So full circle. And
yeah, and then we post. Then we take once we post it on the calexitcongress.com blog. It then goes on the social media. We post it on the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram. For both the Calexit Congress has its own social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I recommend that if you're interested, you can go and like or follow or whatever it is. And then we'll also do it on Yes California because they're one entity, one team. And so Yes California, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram will also post those updates saying that this is a new statement about XYZ from the California independence movement.
so you can see, Yes California is going to be linked to the Congress. The Congress is going to be linked to the forum The forum is where the detailed discussions happen. It feeds back to the Congress, feeds back to Yes. So you will have the ability to make the official statement of Yes California going through the process that you proposed and you allowed to be voted in. So I want to be clear. I did not start these meetings looking at organization. I just wanted to have conversations on publicity. The Congress members pushed me to organization. The Congress members came up with all the organizational ideas. That wasn't me. I just listened. And then the Congress members voted it in. And the Congress members came up with the forum. And then the Congress members are going to be discussing and debating on that and coming up with the official word of yes. You're seeing how everything's linked. Of course, it can be edited, but I want to let you know this Congress speaks for yes. Yes, there's a process to do it. I know it's a little bit of this and that, but it's there. You do have the ability to make the official word of Yes California. And I think we've shown that we delivered on that this week.
Yeah, and Marcus, if I can just add to that real quick, this is basically like you're saying, it's just the skeletons. It's the skeleton of the framework, and we're going to add some meat to it, and we can add some some thickness to it, so it's not just the forum titles and headlines and a little website, but that's going to require the members to be actively involved, and through your involvement, the content gets populated. So whereas before, Yes California would populate its website with things that Yes California executive board members decided to do, and then our volunteers kind of executed on the ground. Now we have a democratic process where the CALEXIT Congress convenes, discusses something, approves it, and that becomes the word, that becomes the position of the California independence movement. And it'll be an interesting thing to be a part of, because once that gets attention, whenever we say something in the future, the news will start covering. And so you'll be a part of that. Right now, maybe won't catch much attention because they don't know about it yet. But once we start sharing it and people start seeing what's the CALEXIT Congress, only have this kind of quasi-legislative group of Californians who all support California independence, who come from all parts of California and who have experience in a variety of different California independence groups, and they're all together at this CALEXIT Congress and approving and debating and being democratic about the position of the movement, because this speaks for the movement. Whereas what Yes California did before, we kind of spoke for Yes California, and so therefore Marcus and I and Jason and some of the people who were, and Sam, who were in it from the beginning, we kind of took the initiative to do things kind of unilaterally a lot, to a great extent. But that was us speaking for the group that we created, Yes California. But now we have a CALEXIT Congress that represents the whole movement. And that's why the doors have been open to so many more new people to be involved and to have a voice and a vote in that process. And I think it's going to be a great success in bringing attention and unifying all of the aspects of the movement into one voice. And that will not be something that the news can ignore.
Okay. I'd like to end the meeting there. Jason, and then Christine.
Just a real quick sales pitch for anyone and everyone, whether you're here now or going to view this later. The sales pitch for this is, do you want to be able to have some sort of say in shaping this movement? If so, join now.
Yeah, totally, Jason. Jason, imagine if we get to 500 members, right? The U.S. Congress has 435 members. So imagine if there was 500 people actively involved in the forum. Well, not all of them would be actively involved. We know how people are. But let's say that there's 500 members and 300 of them are actively involved in the forum. That's not something that's just going to be ignored, especially when they're releasing statements, taking positions on relevant news issues and things that are happening around the world. We're speaking for a movement, and everyone is participating. And I think that, as one of the founders of Yes California, one of the criticisms that our group had was that we did a lot of things unilaterally. And, and to some extent, the executive board of Yes California needs to continue to do that. But there's a lot of things that where we don't need to take that kind of action. That's why I think that this kind of movement in this direction is a good idea, because it allows more people to be involved. And as we've seen, not everybody wants to be involved to the point where they're going on the streets and doing something, or they want to spend time away from their families. This is something you can do on your own time, because it's going to be a forum that's open 24/7, and you can participate and be a voice. And so I think it's a great way to get everybody involved who wants to. And the bigger it gets, I think, within reason, the better. I mean, I don't know, we have to probably think of some kind of cap and some kind of process for approving members, because we don't want to have people who are going to join to sabotage it, as there inevitably will be. So we can't just have, some kind of kumbaya, sit around the campfire, everybody come join us type of mentality. But we need to have an open door to some extent, but also kind of keep an eye out on who's coming, because there will be people who are out there trying to sabotage what we're trying to build, whether it be the media, or whether it be other people from other political groups from all spectrums of the political spectrum.
Christine.
I just wanted to put this out here. So tomorrow at 7 p.m., the corporate culture meeting is happening.
I'll make sure everyone knows. And Christine, I can give them your email, just your email.
I'm gonna make a new email for CalExit
Okay.
today, just because I need to have it separate from other emails. So
Send it to me, yes, and I'll make sure everybody knows. Monday at 7,
yes,
and it'll be on this Zoom channel.
yes, this channel for now, until we can figure something else out.
Yeah, and thank you, Christine. Thank you. And what we want to do is have all the committees approved, or whatever Congress says, and then we want to have a head on each committee. And the head is not a dictator. The head is a moderator. Yeah, they have a lot of influence, but the point is to bring people together. And so I told people, if you're a head, pick 2 times that work for you. Really super comfortable for you, your most comforting time, pick 2, and then everybody's going to have to go to one of those. So I nominated Christine as head. She's picking Monday at 7. I love it. Please show there. If it doesn't work, we'll work it out, but this is the process. I am going to call this meeting over at 2, so that we're only half an hour behind. And then I can say, hey, look, I did implement the new format. We're here. I do want to ask for one housekeeping thing, just because it would help me move along. We have been asked for the last 2 weeks to vote on, should we remove all partisan political language and all discussion of media narratives from the Yes California site, and never do those again. That would wipe out our ability to do publicity, and it's also something we're skilled at. So we lose our skill set, we lose everything that brought us success. And additionally, the person who asked for this vote has never proposed an alternative for the content. However, this person is a board member. I have been asked twice to get a vote. So just to go through the motions, how does everybody feel about yes, Lucy?
Is there a reason why there's some shroud of secrecy as to who the member is?
I have had some very aggressive conversations with this person that were unpleasant. And every time I talk to them, it seems to be just a very, very, very emotionally charged conversation. So I'm not trying to aggravate the situation. They are a board member. They asked for a vote. We didn't get to it last week, so they have the right for us to have it here. I could push it off because of time, but I would like to just be respectful to this member and get a vote. I think I know what the vote's going to be, because this is largely an unworkable position and no alternative has been presented, but I'm constantly saying board members have powers. They've asked, so I would request that we have a vote now on this situation. I understand the person never showed up. I understand that no alternatives have been here. I understand it's largely a not well understood thing, but board members have powers. They've repeatedly asked me to do this. I'm trying to be responsive. I understand it seems awkward.
Okay.
Marcus,
Yes.
can I just ask what the argument is to change the status quo?
I don't understand it myself.
Okay,
That's the problem.
okay.
This person was invited to come out to the meetings and explain themselves. They never did. They were listed on the agenda. I said you could come out and explain. They didn't come last week. I said you could come out this meeting and explain. They didn't come out. I guess I'm just supposed to ask for a vote when I don't really understand the concept well. It doesn't make sense to me, and no alternatives were presented. Again, I know that's awkward. I know that a board member should show up and explain themselves when they want to make a major change, especially when they've been given 2 opportunities. They didn't do that. I am just trying to go through the motions, and I understand it's awkward. That's.
I vote no. As we've already stated, if we take out any other political news, global, domestic, we're going to lose our talking points. If we lose our talking points, we lose media coverage, and then the whole thing just fizzles out.
Agreed. Agreed. Let me ask, does anyone think this is a good idea? Let's scrap all political narratives. Let's not have comments on what the news is talking about. Let's walk away from the thing that's brought us all of our publicity. I mean, is anybody going, yeah, let's do that? I'm not saying any.
Okay. I think that there was a comment to this effect. I just missed who said it. I think that maybe you are saying that indirectly by proposing that the group organize under some kind of non-political tax exempt definition of 501c4, because that would limit the group's ability to take certain political advocacy activities. So, I mean, I'm being kind of ironical. You're asking if anybody likes the idea. I would think that somebody was talking about it, 501c4 in the comments. I can't see it right now. But I would think that if the group took a position that was going to, if it was going to register as a 501c4, which shouldn't be political as a primary, its primary mission shouldn't be political, then that would be something that we might have to consider doing, is to removing some of the content from our websites that we didn't appear to be a primarily political organization. And having said that, I agree with Christine. I agree with Christine, and I don't think we should remove any of the content. That's why I kind of opposed the idea of the 501c4, because I don't want to have the political limitations on our group. But if we did do 501c4, maybe I'm wrong, but I just think that if we had a website that was primarily political in nature, we might have difficulty explaining to the IRS that we are not primarily a political organization.
Understood. So, I am just trying to get a vote done and in the meeting on time. So let me dive right into the weeds. The CalExit Congress is totally independent from the 501c4. The CalExit Congress is totally independent. It's not officially anything. That's why it was free for a lot of people to join. There will be a separate fundraising arm with a few people on it that's totally distinct from Yes California. Please save the questions. Please let me get through this. I understand. A few people will be on that board. That group will have to file rules because it's by the law. We don't have all the issues worked out. So I'd like to table that conversation about what the 501c4 is, making sure that it doesn't conflict with the Yes California, to the fundraising committee. And I would just like to say, not thinking about 501c3, not thinking about the law or anything like that, just for this Congress. Does Congress think it's a good idea in general as an unofficial group that's not technically anything legally, although there will be a separate group that does that? And yes, we will have to make sure that whatever we're filing for doesn't conflict with the goals of the Congress. Does Congress approve or disapprove of the idea that we should basically gut the ability to talk about mainstream political narratives? or politics in there? Jason.
My vote is no. I do not vote that we take down our media and change the way that we've been doing things.
Okay. I think that's where Christine's at. I think that's where I'm at. Sam and then Lewis, how would you vote?
I want to make ourselves irrelevant, so I want to have nothing. No, I vote to continue on the current path as we always
Thank you. Careful, man, because you vote a certain way. It's okay. All right, Lewis.
Yeah, I of course don't support any kind of initiative to remove the political content from a political website.
Okay, I get what you're saying, Lewis. I get what you're saying. I for my brain, I need that to be a separate. And I get we can't have a 501c.
I think Mike made a good point in the comments, which is why I was speaking up, because I think maybe Mike might be busy at the moment where he can't speak or something. I don't know, but he's typing messages in the chat sometimes, and I think they're worthy comments. And so I wanted to bring it up because it might be a valid point that if the group does become a 501c4, we might be required to do some, as you call it, house cleaning on the website to make sure that it doesn't come across as a primarily political organization. Otherwise, you might lose your tax exempt status.
That is what Mike said. Mike Cole said, would we need to do that anyways, remove the political narratives if we did a 501c4? I don't know. It sounds like that's true. I would kind of defer to Lewis on that. However, I would say based upon the way Congress wants, they want all that worked out in a committee and then brought back here. So I'm going to pass that issue on to the committee. So I'm not in any position disagreeing with anything you're saying. I clearly don't understand 501c4 like I thought I did. I'm just saying let's push that on to committee. So John, Mike, Wildstar, Robert Stark, and Stephen Axelman. Do you agree that we should not have political narratives and not have political? You heard what I said.
Well, we don't need to endorse them, but I think outright banning them would stymie the tools that we have. So I would not endorse that decision. No.
Okay. John Bowman, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I would say the same thing. So I would vote no on just like banning, political narratives.
Okay. Wildstar says no, thank you. Mike Cole, you can type in your comment in chat or you can say it. Rabbi, how do you feel? Yes, no? Mike Cole says no. Rabbi Axelman? Okay, I'm going to say that the vote's no. That seems to be where everybody's at. I'll put this in notes.
Yeah, I'm a no, Marcus.
Okay, thank you. So that's a universal no. Of course, it'll be in the notes. People have the chance to redo it. But I'm going to end the meeting now, and I'm going to end recording right now. Let me